From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Spring is not too far off, but spring-like weather may take a bit longer to arrive. Meteorological spring gets underway March 1st, while the March equinox marks the beginning of astronomical spring, which is March 20th. The first weeks of spring may feel more like winter across the northern half of the U.S., as there is a turbulent transition between the seasons. This past January was one of the coldest in years, causing more ice to form on the Great Lakes, according to AccuWeather long-range expert Paul Pastelok. The extensive ice cover will suppress temperatures across the Midwest and parts of the Northeast through the start of spring. In the Pacific Northwest, the colder start to spring will be due to a persistent pattern of stormy weather. As Pastelok said, that storm track in the west can retreat quickly and center more over the Pacific Northwest and western Canada by March, and the transition to spring will be near average or faster across the central Rockies. Lingering wintry weather will be a concern for farmers and gardeners alike across the east, with some late frost. A late frost is also possible across the Carolinas in March, which can lead to some damage to sensitive plants. Frosty mornings will be more common across the Ohio Valley, the central Appalachians, and the interior Northeast, as Pastelok says that the frost threat may last into the early to middle part of May. The tug-of-war between milder spring air and bursts of colder air could open the door for some late-season snow, especially across the interior Northeast and the Midwest, although snowfall is likely to be less frequent than in January and February. The potential for snow combined with the persistent chill will benefit ski resorts across the east that have struggled with mild winters and little natural snow over the past few years. Now, what about severe weather this spring? Well, the upcoming severe weather season is expected to resemble last year's, with the frequency of damaging storms and tornadoes increasing as spring progresses. However, a key difference will be the epicenter of destructive storms, with the focus more over the Mississippi Valley and Tennessee Valley rather than Tornado Alley. While March is not expected to have as many tornadoes as April and May, residents across the plains and the southeast should remain vigilant. Cooler air around the Great Lakes will help to suppress widespread severe weather across most of the Midwest and the Northeast during the first half of the season before storms expand their reach heading into May. As rain, thunderstorms, and severe weather threaten lives and property from the plains through the southeast, most of the events are forecast to miss Florida. Spring warmth will waste no time arriving for millions across the southern U.S., with summer-like heat even making an early appearance in some cities. Arizona, New Mexico, and western Texas are predicted to see some of the warmest weather, where temperatures throughout the spring could average more than 4 degrees above the historical average. Expanding and worsening drought paired with long spells of unusually warm weather will also set the stage for explosive wildfires from the southwest into the plains. Now, this includes the Texas Panhandle, where fast-moving fires scorched over 1,600 square miles of land from late February into early March of last year. Worsening drought is also a concern for a swath of the northern plains. One of the biggest factors that meteorologists take into consideration when creating long-range forecasts is the water temperatures in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, as it can have far-reaching effects on weather patterns around the world. Currently, La Niña conditions are ongoing, with water temperatures in this region reaching the threshold for a La Niña in late December. This phenomenon is the cold counterpart to El Niño. La Niña can shift where the core of severe weather erupts over the U.S. during the spring and determine which part of the West Coast is the focal point of storms from the Pacific and which parts of the country have more cool-downs than dramatic warm-ups. The ongoing La Niña is not the traditional setup, with the coolest waters over the central Pacific rather than the eastern Pacific. That's all for now. You can find more stories and regional forecasts at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.